Do you need to build strength in your hands? I'm Dr. Chantelle Green with MYo Lab. Let's go through how to use a power web to build that strength. Now, the power web is one of the best tools you can use to actually really target your hands and your wrists. There's a bunch of different exercises that you can do depending on what area of the wrist or hand you need to strengthen. So we're going to go through a bunch of those. The first exercise we're going to do is the hook grip. So you're going to hook the hand on the edge of the power web, reach your fingertips out to the webbing. You want to grab somewhere where you can grab with your fingertips. The further out you grab, the harder these exercises are going to be. But we also don't want you here using your whole hand here. This is a fingertip exercise. So you're going to grab out and then hook that towards you. Now you'll see I'm using a power web with two different resistances. They also come with just a single resistance, and there's a bunch of different resistances available. Make sure you're using one where the exercises are challenging and not too easy. So with that hook grip, you are pulling towards you, back and forth. You want to do this about 10 times. You can hold at the end, and you should really feel the activation through this area of your forearm as you're hooking that towards you. Now, if you want to strengthen the whole hand, you can do essentially just a whole hand pinch. So again, you're going to spread your hand out on the power web, hook into some of those holes, and then pinch and pull towards you. So you're pinching and pulling, making a fist. Again, we want to be using the fingertips as much as possible, not putting our whole hand through it. When you feel like you need to progress this exercise, you can add a pull. So then stabilize the power web on your leg, pinch together, and then you're going to pull out away from the band. This is actually going to start to strengthen the elbow as well as the forearm muscles. Now, as humans, we spend a lot of our time grabbing things. We don't spend a lot of our time actually extending our fingers out. The power web is awesome for strengthening that extension because you can do the reverse of a pinch. So exactly the same, you're going to put your fingers through. You want to start narrower together, and then you're going to open your hand out away, stretching the webbing. That again is activating the extensors of the forearm rather than the flexors. If you're finding it's a little too easy, again, the narrower you start, the harder it will be. To progress this, you can add that same pull where you stabilize the power web, stretch out away, and then pull the webbing. And again, 10 to 15 times until you start to create some muscular fatigue or you feel like you're using other muscles to make this happen. If you need to strengthen specific fingers, maybe you had an injury in one part of your hand, you can do that with a power web as well, essentially by only using those fingers. So put those fingers in the webbing and then you can pinch towards yourself, or conversely, put them close together and strengthen out around by pushing your fingers apart. Again, we're still just putting the fingertip in the webbing so that we're getting specific activation in the forearm. One of the other exercises you can do is actually grabbing and twisting that motion. So same thing as before, you're putting your fingers through, pulling them together, and then you can actually twist the power webbing. Depending on how far apart you are, obviously this gets harder. If you're finding you can't twist, maybe use the lighter side of the resistance so that you're actually creating that motion in the power webbing. The other thing that this power web is great for is actually stabilizing the wrist and shoulder. And so you can do this with a little bit of rhythm. So you're going to put your hand through the power webbing, and then you want to shake the power webbing. And one of the things that happens is it starts to move back and forth, and you're resisting that motion by not letting the rest of your body move. This is one of those exercises that's way harder than you think it's going to be. If your elbow is tucked into the side when the power web is moving, you're going to get more in the wrist and elbow. If your arm is straight out when it's moving, you'll hit more of the shoulder. And so you can modify this exercise to where you need that strength. One other thing that the power webbing is really great for is actually resisting stretching. So you can put your hand into the power web and push against it, and it will start to actually stretch the wrist and the palm of the hand. If you do it like this, you're stretching it more into extension. If you put your wrist like this, you're stretching it more into flexion. You're going to want to hold these stretches until some of that tension releases. So that could take 30 seconds to a couple of minutes. Don't be afraid to hang out on that and let the power web do the work stretching your wrists. Thanks for watching.